Welcome back to 7 Moons Astrology. I'm Sarah Kirby, and today we're talking all about the Mercury Retrograde coming up in Aquarius and Capricorn. This one's going to be a little bit more intense, okay? It really is. There's some intense aspects that are being activated by the Mercury Retrograde, so I don't think this one's going to be the nicest one that we've ever had, but I think what's important to remember at a high level is that every Mercury Retrograde serves us. Always. There is too much fear hype. There is too much demonization of a Mercury retrograde. They happen 2 to 3 times every single year, and they always serve us to go back and revisit the past, to redo something, to revise, to reflect, and to make sure that where we're at is a place that we want to be in, and to make sure that where we're going is well rooted on a strong foundation. I think that's what Mercury retrograde is really all about. It's like you can't drive a car without brakes. And Mercury retrograde, in a way, are the brakes. So, I think these points in time are actually really supportive to us and really nurturing. Although I think this one is definitely going to feel a little bit more intense for us because, and I think that's really going to be true in terms of our relationships. In Aquarius is an air sign about ideas and people and groups and relationships. So I really think a lot of this stuff is going to show up more in our relationships. And then once Mercury moves into Capricorn, we might see it more with our work. Capricorn having to do so much with work, but also our relationships with having to do with our relationships with corporations and with governments. So those are some of the things at a high level that I think we can expect. Let's get into the details here of this energy, and I'll show you the chart here for the Mercury retrograde. Sorry if you can hear, I got a little distracted because they're taking out the trash now at like 6:30. Thank you, garbage people. But you're interrupting my video. Anyway, we're gonna keep going because I don't want to start this over. So thanks for bearing with me, my 200 subscribers. All right, so let's kick it off. So the Mercury retrograde starts actually late in the night on the 14th of January Central Time. It'll be retrograde in the sky for, everybody by the 15th, depending on where you live. And it is right off the bat highlighting that Saturn-Uranus square that we've been dealing with all of 2021 that has been such a point of tension and challenge and hardship for us all. Because it's right next to Saturn here in this close conjunction within 3 degrees, and that square to Uranus is at 10, Mercury's at 10 degrees, it's bringing up all the same issues. So we're not out of the water yet. Everything that we have been struggling with this past year, especially what came up around the holidays in terms of our, challenges there emotionally. And the things that we're wanting to just shake off and break free of, and the pain and the struggle and the challenges that we are just so tired and exhausted of. But the universe is still asking that we remain committed and disciplined, and some of us, myself included, are taking this to the opposite polarity. And maybe the issue is that you're like me and you need to be a little bit more free, and you need to find a way to exist a little bit more in an environment that could feel very Uranian, very chaotic, very unpredictable. But if you're Saturnian in nature, you might find yourself feeling a little bit overly rigid, disciplined, and just strict and dogmatic. So some of those same themes are going to get brought up right away. You're probably already feeling this as Mercury's in its pre-shadow period as I'm posting this. And it's activating that square, which is still really tight. So we're starting off there, and that's not the best way to open the gates, but that's what we've got. So I'll kind of progress this forward here, and let's see. We're moving on, and we're going to have Mercury Kasimi in Aquarius on the 23rd. So what is that? The Kasimi period is right when Mercury is sitting conjunct the sun here. So you can see this conjunct the sun, Mercury and the sun at 3 degrees Aquarius. And this is a great energy because it's this beautiful time in which Mercury is said to be sitting at the seat of the sun. Mercury is the messenger of the gods, right? That's its archetype. And so when it's conjunct the sun, it's an opportunity where it's sort of thought to be receiving a download or a message or a mission for its next cycle until it meets the sun again in its next Kasimi period. And so This is a wonderful time where downloads can really easily come through to us. Bright ideas, instant inspiration, a conversation that sort of puts off a light bulb, or changes how we see things and sort of feels like a solution. That can be very much so what we experience around a Mercury Kasimi. So it's beneficial to spend this energy doing something meditative that allows those thoughts and ideas to come in. And I also think it's beneficial as an alternative to spend this time in conversation, because things can be really illuminating and great ideas can come through. So you could be journaling, you could be washing the dishes, cleaning your house, you could be literally meditating, doing yoga, having an intimate heart-to-heart connection with someone. All of these things are a great way to spend the Mercury Kasimi period. The conjunction is only exact in this Kasimi period for a couple hours, so it doesn't really last the whole day. If you want to take advantage of it, you're going to need to do so in the early morning hours. At Central Time, it's exact around 5:41 p.m. or a.m. I'm sorry. So, this is a good time to have maybe an early rising and see what comes of it within a couple hours before and after this period. So that's a time among the Mercury retrograde where suddenly you'll be perhaps rethinking something from the past, or having a discussion that you've had before, but being able to see it in a new way. And that's what the Kasimi period is really all about. So that's a brief period of respite among some of this intensity, because right after that, on the 26th, Mercury will move into Capricorn, and this energy will have us maybe revisiting some of those things I mentioned in the beginning, redoing things with work, confronting old issues with corporations and our bosses and our managers and our jobs and our governments. That's been a big topic of the past 2 years. So all of those things can come up at the collective level. But for us as individuals, really what's important to note here is actually on the 29th, when Mercury conjuncts Pluto again. So, Pluto keeps getting hit here, 27, 28 degrees Capricorn, because Venus retrograde keeps activating it as well. Really, this is the ongoing story that's helping us to figure out what we want and need in relationship, and what we want and need with money, and what we want and need with our appearance and our nutrition and our relationship to self and our self-worth. All of those Venusian themes, our relationship to pleasure and indulgence, those things are coming back around, and Mercury helps us to visit those things from an intellectual way. And so what we might find is that when Mercury and Pluto conjunct, this is going to be a period where we're kind of revisiting fears and wounds and traumas and triggers from the past. We're revisiting the ways that we try to control everything all the time. We're revisiting the ways that we have all of these dynamics in our relationships that feel kind of manipulative and like power struggles that we don't like and we don't want. And we're able to kind of maybe zoom out of it and stop thinking about it so darn emotionally, right? Because that can be part of what really charges this energy. But in Capricorn's a pretty unfeeling sign. It's a little bit, it looks at things in a bit more of a pragmatic earth sign grounded way. So we can kind of step out and look at things from a practical point of view. And because Mercury's in retrograde, it's going to be about like reviewing the past, reviewing old issues. And really, I think that what this will do is, even if it presents at first as a challenge or a trigger or a problem, the goal of this energy, I think, is really about alchemy and finding a new way to kind of bridge the gap between what we fear and what we desire. I think that's what I see here for that first conjunction. By the 4th of February, Mercury will head direct again, and so then it's going to run over Pluto one more time on the 12th. So it's really that same story that we're going to be playing out for the next couple of months here. And ultimately, I think this energy is going to be about taking our ideas and our conceptualizations about what we want and grounding them into practical reality. It's about moving from air to earth. It's about taking what we think and our ideas and the things we're too dogmatic about and the things we're too rigid about and the my way or the highway energy, and overcoming and alchemizing those things to get more of what we want, more of what we need, what is actually practical, what is actually sustainable, what has longevity, what has stability, and what is built on a strong foundation. That's what this Mercury retrograde is all about. And I think the major themes are going to be relationships, money, and work for this one. Thank you for watching With Energy. Sarah.